The horrendous impact of inflation on the family budget, ever since COVID sent our governments into ever wilder spending sprees, has hurt families and individuals in so many ways. Listening to interviews of people talking of having to choose between groceries and paying the rent, or having to deny their child's sports fees, or feeling shame at having to pass the plate at church without putting anything in, they're heart-wrenching. Being hungry because you don't have food is very different from the hunger from fasting on Good Friday or sticking to the latest diet to lose the spare tire where your waistline once was. Which got me to thinking of the different kinds of hungers that we have as humans. There's hunger for food, hunger for companionship and love, hunger for God and faith, hunger for community, hunger for meaning in one's life. This is not to downplay the impact of trying to stretch one's income farther with less, whether it's reflected in the food bill, rent, mortgage payments, at the gasoline pump, or at the local coffee bar. The pain to the wallet is there. And food banks report seeing ever-increasing numbers and donors strapped to continue giving. But it doesn't end there. Lives are impacted in so many ways by inflation. Frustrations lurk as people try to economize. They rise early to ride their bikes to work and find themselves faced with endless detours, torn up streets, and potholes waiting to swallow them up. The supermarket determines what will be for dinner, based on what is for sale. As I ride public transit, I feel increasingly insecure with the rising rates of violence on the subways and streetcars that have become home to the homeless, who snarl at you as you seek a seat amid their bags and carts. Walking even feels precarious with news reports of innocents caught in the crossfire of drug dealers guarding their turf. And violence no longer is hidden in the darkness of black back alleys, but in the parks where one can no longer walk or sit safely on a sunny afternoon. Isolation creates the hunger for community, and it takes many forms. COVID sent people home, and masks concealed our fears. The social development of children was warped by the years of online learning, and lingers for many in a fear of gathering with those who should become their friends. For others, learning how to relate to the other sex, how to date, how to drink, and how to socialize remains more of a mystery than it would otherwise have been. Most have rebounded, but far too many have been left behind. And this takes us back to the other hungers that are not filled by mere money, but are as essential as food if one is to be a full and healthy person. Being invested in a caring community is soul satisfying. And that doesn't mean it has to be associated with your church, although that is a good place to start. It can be a sports club, the Templars, a neighborhood improvement group, your gym, or the PTA. The one thing that all such groupings have in common is that they seek to make things better, whether in beautifying their community, making it healthy for body or soul, helping those less fortunate. And you can play your part. You can volunteer to help raise money, take your cooking skills or handyman talents to a local shelter, or spend time helping orient refugees to the neighborhood. Community is also found in the local dog parks, sharing gossip and adventures and knowing the name of every pet you pass on your walks. It's found in garage sales and dropping a book into the little free library box. And it's found in hospital visits and dropping off a casserole when a neighbor has cancer or dies. For many, their faith and their relationship with God demands that they care about others, and they try to live by the golden rule of doing for others what you would like to be done for you. And that means when people are lining up at the food banks, you do what you can. You volunteer and get to work, or you drop a few items into the box for the rector's pantry, or write a check to the Daily Bread Food Bank. You do what you can, whenever you can. You give of your time and your resources. Ultimately, all hungers come down to a need for community, to belonging to something more than ourselves and playing a meaningful role in this world in preparation for the next. We need to love and be loved. And in our faith, we find all the components necessary for that to happen. It means waking up each morning and committing the day to being the best that we can be and doing for others. It means finding ways to meet the varied hungers that life dictates and doing it with grace and joy and living life to the full. Participate, live generously, and know that with such good works and a life well lived, God is well pleased. Here's an old Irish prayer that encapsulates our thoughts this day. May the blessing of the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, which God shared out among the 5,000, be ours. May the King who did the sharing bless our sharing and our partaking. So may it ever be. Amen.